in the current market structure where we have Google that is dominant but not almighty, and we still have other search engines, in particular Bing and Yahoo, who by the way already joined an alliance about a year ago, that this market structure is not viable. It will not be sustained. So sooner or later there will be a monopoly by Google. So this research is about the market for internet search, where Google, Yahoo and Bing are the main players around. The research question that we are starting with is a claim that has been made by Google and others, and that is that in this market, competition is just a free click away. This means to say that if a user doesn't like the results of one search engine, he or she will just switch to another search engine without any kind of switching cost, and so if one search engine is not good enough, they will be pushed out of the market easily. So, but we are not so sure, because what we have identified is that in this market there exists a certain kind of indirect network externalities. What does this mean? It means that if a user makes a query at a search engine, he will not consider that his clicking behavior will be stored by the search engine. So if he's presented with a list of 10, with one list of 10 links and then 10 million other ones that he never looks at, then he will, if he thinks link number 7 is the best, he will click on it. And this is information that the search engine keeps and that the search engine can use in the future if other users look for the same type of information. Passed in the, they look for the same keyword, right? So we construct a very simple model based on this insight that there are these kinds of indirect network externalities in this market, and then what we find, and that's also completely in line with the actual development of market shares since 2003, when Google became the market leader, is that there is a very strong tendency to monopolization in this market, which means in the current market structure where we have Google that is dominant but not almighty, and we still have other search engines, in particular Bing and Yahoo, who by the way already joined an alliance about a year ago, that this market structure is not viable. It will not be sustained. So sooner or later there will be a monopoly by Google. Then what we do is we study the effects of this monopoly. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, right? But what we show is that this is not the ideal world. We could do better as a society, as an economy. And so what we put forward is a policy proposal that basically says all search engines should be forced to share these anonymized, context-specific data on the clicking behavior of previous users amongst each other. What we do then is that first we show very simply that within our model environment that this policy proposal, which leads to a market structure that we coin a competitive oligopoly, that this market structure dominates or is just better than the current market structure in all relevant aspects, with respect to consumer surplus, to total welfare, with the rate of innovation and with search quality. And the latter is very important, right? Because it is no doubt that Google these days also invests in quality and gets better and better and puts out new services. That's very clear. But what we show is that the incentives of a very, very dominant company or even a monopolist to invest even more in innovation at the margin are less pronounced than the incentives of a company that is facing neck-to-neck competition with others, because it cannot rest on this large cushion that is put out by the context-specific data only it has access to. And this is maybe a key here.
How do you think Google will react on this?
We have had contact to Google. However, at some point they just stopped answering to our emails, so I do not know officially what Google thinks about this. However, there are two pieces of information here. The one is a theoretical one that, as our model suggests, and that is no surprise, I think, Google is probably not too keen on this proposal, because what we would like to do is to take away a certain competitive advantage that they now have and that they can do to earn a lot of money and level the playing field. That's what our policy proposal would do. It would lead to a world where search engines really compete just on the basis of the quality of their search engine algorithm and not on the amount of data that they have individual access to. And secondly, the former CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, has made a couple of statements in which he stated that Google has always held the opinion that large amounts of private data collection should be shared amongst each other. So that would, of course, let's say, support our proposal a lot. I'm not too sure whether he would make the same statement at the current if he stumbles about our proposal.